what's up, guys? I'm inside of the Capitol for the State of the Union, and we're going to have an incredible show. We're going to move live here really soon, but I wanted to share with you some inside information that I just received from, let's just say, someone who really knows what is about to happen. And what's about to happen is President Trump is going to throw down the gauntlet on Iran, and there are signals all across the world that the president is either going to potentially bomb Iran during the State of the Union, or bomb Iran after the State of the Union, or potentially bomb Iran right before the State of the Union, which would be right now. And the reason why so many people are saying that, and why I just got a very strong signal for that from, let's just say, within Trump's inner circle and inner orbit, is, well, because there are obvious, massive military movements all across the globe in the direction of setting 60 to 70% of our deployable military directly in the vicinity of Iran. And this is something that is going to clearly accelerate the potential of a strike on Iran, and Donald Trump's going to use this as an opportunity for leverage against the Ayatollahs. Now, what does the administration want? I asked this. How could you justify this to the American people? And what ultimately the deep state wants is for the Ayatollahs to be toppled, because they still are really butthurt about what happened in the Iranian Revolution in the 1970s. But this is the critical issue at hand. Will they give up the nuclear weapon? Iran has allegedly said no, according to my contacts, and Donald Trump is going to act. And he may act tonight. He may act live during the State of the Union. He may announce it live during the State of the Union. There's supposed to be meetings in Geneva this week with representatives from Iran to try and prevent this from happening. But I think from what I've heard, it's been cooked. And there's been reporting out that say this effectively, that say that the decision has been made by Trump and Hegseth, that Vance was sort of acting as a broker for not doing this, and that Raising Cane, he's the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, that he also was against it. But ultimately, the War Hawks ended up winning. Obviously, President Trump saw that his poll numbers went up when he bombed Iran the first time. His poll numbers went up when he black-bagged Nicolas Maduro. His poll numbers go up when he takes strong military action, and you may see some of that against the cartels, I've also been told. And so I guess the reality of all of this is going to be a rowdy one. I mean, it's going to make for must-watch TV tonight. And, we may be getting the first wartime announcement at a State of the Union live. I mean, wouldn't that be perfect Trump? One final competing idea on all of this is that, when you look at the F-22 Raptors that are now doing operational facilities in Israel, right? Operational missions and runs in Israel. We've never seen that before. When you look at the massive military buildup around Iran, is this going to lead us into something that is a much broader conflict? Now, is this something that they're preparing to really literally put boots on the ground? And I think the instinct from inside of the administration is that the Iranian regime is so close to toppling that just give it a little push and the house of cards will fall in. But what's going to happen next? Is this going to mean that Turkey's already trying to close their border with Iran. Does this mean that, that we're going to get ourselves into an Iraq or an Afghanistan situation? If that's the case, then it's going to be really hard to make the case that this is an America first, right? Action. Because it's not America first to get embroiled in more Middle East wars or more wars for regional hegemony than the lands that are 5,000 miles away from America. You can see J.D. Vance's thought process on all of this. He's often written about and spoken about it. You have to sell this kind of stuff to the American people. But nonetheless, we've heard that the War Hawks have won, and that Donald Trump is and will be announcing, war in Iran tonight, potentially, as soon as tonight. And so I guess stay watching. It's going to be historic. and never a dull moment. Here's what the administration has been saying about war with Iran over the last 24 hours. You can see there's an obvious ratcheting up of the rhetoric. There's obviously a predictive programming that's happening here. And it's really not hard to read the tea leaves. But I'm telling you, I just had a conversation and you had to hear this. Trump's going to announce war with Iran. We'll see. Here we go. Here's the administration's been saying.
You mentioned Operation Midnight Hammer, the president touting the success of the military. One of the things that the president said, Iran nuclear sites were completely obliterated. We heard from Steve Witkoff just a few days ago also saying that Iran was maybe just a week away from getting access to bomb-making material. How can they square those two statements? What exactly happened here? Were the strikes just not as effective, or were they able to build more quickly than the administration had hoped?
No, the president's initial statement, and the president reiterated that True Social, that Operation Midnight Hammer was an overwhelmingly successful mission that did, in fact, obliterate Iran's nuclear facilities. That is not just verified by the President of the United States, but also the International Atomic Energy Commission as well. That does not mean that Iran may never try again to establish a nuclear program that could directly threaten the United States and our allies abroad, and that's what the President wants to ensure can never happen again. And just one more note with respect to Iran before I run into my morning meeting. President Trump's first option is always diplomacy, but as he has shown, he is willing to use the lethal force of the United States military if necessary. So it's always, the president is always the final around here, and I've seen a lot of sensationalist reporting over the past day that is just completely untrue. And anyone speculating to the media, hiding behind an anonymous source, pretending to know what President Trump is thinking or a decision he will make with respect to action against Iran has no idea what they're talking about.
Qatar, countries, nobody could have signed. You would have had that threat. Nobody could have had, you couldn't have had peace in the Middle East. So now we may have to take it a step further, or we may not. Maybe we're going to make a deal. You're going to be finding out over the next probably 10 days. But this meeting today is proof with determined leadership, nothing is impossible.
Well, I'm obviously not going to make any announcements today. I think the president has a lot of options. We do have a very powerful military. The president's shown a willingness to use it. He also has a remarkable diplomatic team. He's shown a willingness to use that, too. And so what the president has been very clear with the Iranians, and actually I just talked to Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner this morning about some of their negotiations, is the United States has certain red lines. Our primary interest here is we don't want Iran to get a nuclear weapon. We don't want nuclear proliferation. If Iran gets a nuclear weapon, there are a lot of other regimes, some friendly, some not so friendly, who would get nuclear weapons after them.